Hi there, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel. You guys, it is December daily season again. I am so excited, which means it's time to look through my album from last year. Let's go ahead and dive right in. I cannot believe it's already December daily 2025 season. It snuck up on me so fast, but I'm actually starting to get into the spirit, even though it is still pretty hot outside. But the first thing I do is pull out my old albums, and I've been looking at all of the new release and thinking about what I want to pick up from this year and what I have in my stash to work with. And my first step is always to look back on my past albums. So I have been doing December daily since 2012. So 2025 will be my 14th year, I believe, which is crazy. But today we're going to be flipping through my 2024 album. If you missed it last year on my channel, I have process videos and a setup video for how this album came together. So you can go ahead and check those out. I will link a playlist in the description box below. I also have flip throughs of previous year's albums on my channel as well, which I will also link in the description box below. But I have not yet shared a full flip through of my 2024 album. I like to come and do it when it's the new December daily season and share my thoughts looking back on it when I haven't seen it for a year. So let's go ahead and dive in. Well, first I used the 6x8 album. This is the Red Star album. I believe that Ali said they still have this album in stock. If you wanted to use it this year, they still have some of these available. I really love this album. I feel like it's a really fun, colorful front, but not too busy. And then the inside is this white with these little stars. I put this puffy here because it has the year on it, so you obviously have to use it. I think this was in the advent calendar last year. I'm not sure. A lot of these pages, I do have process videos. I think I have for pretty much all of them on my channel here. I also have some process videos on the Ali Edwards blog last year, kind of setting up, which included, I believe, my title page here, which I created this on this transparency. And then it's overlaid on a photo of my tree out of focus intentionally to kind of get that like bokeh look with the lights. Then I went into my reason why, and I believe that this one is also on the Ali Edwards blog. I absolutely love how this page came out. These huge vellum pieces were one of my favorite things last year. I don't think I used them all, so maybe I'll be able to use some this year, but I'm not sure because I'm thinking of going small. So one of the things I wanted to talk about, like as I flip through this, are my thoughts for 2025. And I will share a video, a setup and planning video for that closer to December, probably in early November, after I have all of my products and I'm setting up my album and doing whatever foundation pages I end up doing. But in the past, I have done 6x8 album is kind of like my comfort. Most of my albums are 6x8. That's what I did last year, obviously. And sometimes I have gone off of that. I like to mix it up. Usually I will come back to 6x8 like every other year at a minimum, but I have done, I think it was 2023, I did a super small mini and I did a 10x8, I believe in 2021. I've also done a 4x6 in, I want to say 2017. And then that 2023 one was also, it was a vertical 4x6. So I'm thinking of going super small again, but I'll share more about that as it gets closer to December. So for the first, I really wanted to use this at the beginning to look a lot like Christmas paper. It was a 10x8. So a lot of what I did in this album is find ways to make those 10x8 papers fit. So I just wanted to do kind of the stories from before December. So here's me and my daughter putting lights on the house and decorating the living room. For day 2, I also wanted to do a little bit more decor because there's a lot of holiday decor. So I am an empty nester. My Christmases are quieter, slower. So I do have a lot more focus on those like slower, smaller stories. I do get a lot of questions or see a lot in the community about people saying, well, what do you put in here if you don't have small children or huge family gatherings? And for me, I feel like December daily is kind of more beneficial because I have more time to work on the project, and I also can focus on those little details that make the season magical that you might overlook. So I have like my collection of trees here, the ornaments I have on my table, and the mantle. For day 3, I have this ornament I got my daughter. So my daughter is a young adult. She is currently in college, but she doesn't live at home. She has an apartment. She did have the apartment last year. She was in the dorms before that, but now she has her own apartment, but it is still local. So I do see her pretty frequently, and she worked at Starbucks last year, so I got her an ornament. I believe I made this as part of my foundation pages. This was one of the die cut pieces, and I made it have this like little shaker pocket in it, and you can see my stitching is messy, but that's okay. I put on the back of here the wreath on my door, and I used a paint pen on here. I believe that this is a Sharpie. So these are Sharpie creative markers. I know a lot of people in the community use the Posca paint pens. I have those. I prefer the Sharpie creative markers. They just flow easier, more like a regular marker than like the paint pen where you have to like push the tip down. I don't know. I find them a little bit easier to work with. They don't necessarily have quite as many colors though. Then for day 5, I did music, and I just went simple with a pocket page. I'm thinking I'm not going to use any pocket pages this year if I go super small, but we'll see. Day 6 was about just kind of being busy and having so much to do. And I feel like that's a story that I tell in December Daily pretty much every year. I use this pocket here to have some hidden journaling, which I'm not going to share, but it's just typed on there. And then on the back, it's got this pattern paper. And I'd like to have some longer journaling, kind of reflecting on the season and how I feel, but I like having it hidden away to not share on the internet. Day 7 was about this little nook in my kitchen, which I absolutely love. And this new mug shelf that I got that came, I think it came right before December, but I love having this to store my holiday mugs. Well, I have mugs year round, but I put out different ones each season. And then I created this like shaker collection of tags on here and just punched through the photo itself to hang it on there. And then on the other side, I just covered it up with the paper that was adhered to the back so you don't see the tie on the back. This side, I documented the craft community, which is something I document pretty much every year because I contribute on the Allie Edwards blog, or I have contributed through various things. I've been on her team in some way or another since 2021. So it's been part of my kind of holiday season for the past few years. And even before then, I have been active in the craft community online for a long time. And having the like spirit and excitement around December Daily is just one of the things that I love about the holiday season. For day 9, I organized a mug swap with some of my craft friends. So I have the photo of me with the mug I got from Sabrina. So I put the photo of her with the mug she got. And then I have the photo of my friend Julie who I had, so with the mug I gifted her. Then for the 10th, I did this. This I think is one of my favorite pages. I have a few in here. I can't pick an absolute favorite. But this one is about like the dark and the twinkle lights in the season. It is super, super dark where I live in December. I am in upstate New York, so we do have a huge difference between the length of the day in the summer and the winter. Not so extreme, like I know there are people who live in like Alaska and stuff that have a very extreme, but it is a huge difference where it gets dark really early. I was writing that here where it can get dark starting before 3 p.m. Whereas in the summer, it could be like almost 9 p.m. without the sun going down. So it's a huge difference. And I wanted to kind of document that and how the twinkle lights kind of help with that. I made this little twinkle light thing here with cut out twinkle lights from one of the pattern papers and stitched them together. And I feel like it's just so fun. on the back. So one of the things last year, I think these were in the main kit, there were these large cardstock or chipboard words that were gold, and I absolutely love them. I don't think I was able to use them all, but I used quite a few, and that was one of my favorite pieces from last year's collection. So for day 11, I did Little Pieces of Joy, and this was one of the foundation pages I made and shared on the Allie Edwards blog. But there were these ornament shapes last year, so I made this page where these kind of rotate, and behind them I put some typed journaling of little pieces of joy from this current season. And this was really fun to look back on because some of these things are still things I'm enjoying, and some of them I've kind of moved on from, which is just fun because you wouldn't think about them otherwise. So for day 12, I decided to do a recap of the year. I think Allie did one like this, and so it kind of gave me the idea, but I don't think hers looked similar. I created this. This was one of the transparency, so I wanted to make sure to use it because it had the year on it. And so I made it as a flip out, and then I did my journaling on the back about kind of like a recap of the year and put one photo from each month, which was really hard to do because like August, I went to 5 different cities in Europe, in Eastern Europe, and it was really hard to pick one photo. And then there were other months that like nothing really happened, like July, because it was the lead up to that travel. But what I ended up doing was doing the Olympics and just kind of picking something. Some of them were progress in my home. Most of them were either progress in my home or travel. So like this is travel. And then travel. No, that's not travel. And then this was the eclipse, and then meeting a craft meetup with some friends. And it's just fun to see the whole year like that. The 13th, I had a craft day with some friends. And then the 14th, I baked Christmas cookies with my daughter. I made this page is like here and these. The 15th, I used one of the, these were like prompt papers, which was a new thing in 2024. There is a prompt paper set in 2025. I think it's more geared towards the 10x8 albums, but there are some very cute prompt papers in there. And I used this one to document, like, this is kind of like a list to myself for this year. So I'm super excited to look at it and read it because it was kind of like telling me what I need to do this year to kind of do things better. So I wrote things like for myself. So here, make 2 recipes of the star cookies, buy more tree decor and frosting, pick out a new recipe in November to try for baking cookies. And so like these are notes to myself. And I love that I did this story last year, and I love looking back on it now and helping me get ready for the 2025 holiday season. Then I just paired it with this photo of my coffee mug in front of the tree. Day 16 was about my wrapping paper. So these were the wrapping papers I used this year. And I have Wrapping Magic, so another one of those gold words. Day 17, I did a recap of all of the books I read in 2024. And I think I put them on here in order. So I just got screenshots of all of the covers from Google Images and just printed them out and laid them out like this. And then I made this page by adhering divided page protector to the side of this to include this card, which I think was from one of the like story play kits, like the book one. There was a reading one, so I have my top 5 books. And then this was a digital, I believe, from Geraldine Side, which her shop is called In a Creative Bubble. Day 18 was just some like little stories related to related to work this month. And so I just wanted to do a little bit about that. I don't share a lot about my job on the internet or in my albums because it is personal or private, but there were just some things that were not necessarily like work related, but related to work, like people. So like we had an office party, and so one of my coworkers gave me a gift that was funny. I gifted my employees certain things. So like I just wanted to kind of document that. And then this was one of the pattern papers. I believe it was in the Liz Tamanaha kit. I think that one might need, no, it's good now. And I cropped it down to go on the back of this page I made, and then just had fun kind of filling in all of these little gaps. I really love how that one came out, so I want to remember that and maybe do something similar this year. Then for day 19, I wanted to use this Magic is Something We Make paper, which again was a 10 by 8 paper, so I cut it down to make it work for my album size and put it on this vellum. And then here I have a photo of my cat Pumpkin hiding under the tree and a note to myself. Day 20, I think this might be my favorite spread in the album. I don't know, it's hard to pick. But this was about the first snow. There was this Let It Snow plastic piece, and I wanted to cut that down and then create kind of like a collage with embellishments in it on this photo of me looking at my feet in the snow. And then I typed the story on the side and put it in a frame on top of one of my favorite pattern papers from the collection. Day 21 was some longer journaling just about the shortest day of the year and the snow, the picture of my house in the snow with the Christmas lights. Just love that. Then I just wanted to add a little transparency in here. And then day 22, again, this might be my favorite page. I had this vision in my head and I was so happy with how it came out. So I took a picture of the top of an Amazon box after it was open, so you can see like the tear along the tape, because I ordered a lot of gifts on Amazon last year. It's just easier with being so busy, and certain things, like that's the best place to get them. And so I wanted to document that with having, you know, a older child whose gifts are name brand electronics a lot. And so a lot of those things, Amazon's the best place to get it. And I did use the AI tool in Photoshop to kind of extend the box and make it the right shape to fit my page. And then this piece I adhered down, and then I made a flip out and included my type journaling on the inside about holiday shopping. And I just liked documenting how holiday shopping this year was like entirely online, not all Amazon, but that was just the most recognizable box. And I just journaled about that in here. And in years past, because like I said, I've been doing December daily since 2012, I've had like a holiday shopping spread. So having this be what holiday shopping looks like now is just a fun way to see how things evolve over time. So day 23, I got super sick for Christmas last year. So I think probably I only made it to maybe about here, maybe like 19 at actual Christmas. And then I had to come back and work on this in January after I was done being sick. And I was just so sick at Christmas. So I wanted to document that for the 23rd. So I have this photo of me on the couch playing video games. I tend to play video games more when I'm like sick or tired or just like not feeling well. So I'm just lounging on the couch playing video games. It's one of the few things I could do. My cat sleeping with me, and then just doing a little bit of documenting, just some micro stories about that. And then the Bah Humbug was perfect because it was not the right mood for Christmas. Christmas Eve, I do an hors d'oeuvres tradition. This is something my mom did when I was a kid, and I've continued it for my daughter. She loves it, so I continue doing it. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to this year because I was so sick, but thankfully I was feeling better on the 24th and was able to do this. And so I have this tag comes out, and then I have some journaling on the back that I'm going to keep private, just about like who was over and what we did for Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Day, I kind of mirrored what I did for my reason why page. So let's try to do this. So you can see I kind of mirrored these two pages to go together, which I absolutely love how that like started the album and finished the album. In fact, I should probably take a photo of those two pages together because I just love that kind of start and end to the album with one of the big vellum pieces, this alpha font that was one of the fonts from the year that came with the December Daily collection. This one I did put like heat emboss on these little asterisks between. Here I didn't. I just used the black because it was more kind of more words. But basically what I did for Christmas Day was I just put Christmas morning gifts, and then I put like just different things that were like happening that day. So some of it was like Chinese takeout, movie night, fireplace, just like, and then some of the gifts I got, some of the gifts I gave, just all of those things on here. And then I used the Christmas gold word on top of the 25 on top of the ornament. And then I had a photo of my cat playing with his gifts. He gets so excited for Christmas and loves his gifts. He was actually the most excited on Christmas morning because, like I said, we don't have any small children around here. My daughter is still excited to open her gifts, but not as excited as she was when she was little. So he was definitely the most excited. And I don't take a ton of photos. You can see I didn't take a ton of photos of people. There's not a lot of photos of people in here because a lot of my people don't want to be in here. Or like my daughter, you know, we were just in our pajamas. We weren't like dressed up to be pretty. And I kind of forgot to take any photos except for this one, but that's okay. I like that I have the stories and I'm playing with the products. I was so excited to use, this was my favorite paper last year and I didn't want to hoard it. So I finished the album with it. I kept it in the full 10x8 to create this flip out. And I added this on here, which I think was also from the advent calendar. And it was just a fun way to use up some of my favorite pieces from the collection and get them all into the album. So that's a look at my 2024 December daily. I'm so excited pulling this out again, and I can't wait to dive into 2025. Are you guys ready? Let me know in the comments what you think and what your plans are for 2025 December daily. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye.